All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're taking a really fascinating look under the hood at the cellular mechanics of NIAGEN IV therapy, specifically based on the breakdown presented by Prime IV Hydration and Wellness. We're going to explore the exact biological processes they claim can essentially reset your cellular health, entirely bypassing that traditional medical approach of just slapping a band-aid on symptoms. So, we're kicking things off with a problem I think literally all of us can relate to: the modern epidemic of just absolute bone deep fatigue. You know exactly the feeling I'm talking about. You wake up exhausted, and absolutely no amount of double shot espresso is going to jumpstart that broken metabolic engine. You're basically walking around with a smartphone flashing a 20% battery warning, and it's not even lunchtime yet. And that brings us to the core philosophy of our source material today, which makes this really bold, striking demand. Stop accepting fatigue as a personality trait. I absolutely love that framing. Prime IV is arguing here that feeling perpetually sluggish isn't about you lacking discipline or having a poor work ethic. Not at all. They frame it as a very real microscopic cellular deficit that you can actually measure and, more importantly, address. Here is the quick roadmap for our explainer today. We'll be hitting 1. The modern energy crisis. 2. The biology of NAD+. 3. The IV therapy difference. 4. Brain and body benefits. And finally, 5. The Prime IV experience. Okay, Section 1. The modern energy crisis, and exactly why you are so tired. Think about it for a second. Most of us treat our bodies kind of like a car we just refuse to put oil in, right? We just drive it until there's a complete breakdown before we finally drag ourselves to a mechanic. We are constantly surrounded by everyday lifestyle stressors that are actively draining our biological engines. We're talking high stress, maybe a bit too much alcohol, terrible sleep, overeating, and just natural biological aging. And according to the clinical perspective we're looking at, these aren't just minor inconveniences. They are initiating a very real, measurable cellular decline. Moving right along to Section 2. The biology of NAD+, which is basically your cellular engine. Okay, so to truly understand fatigue, we first have to talk about ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. Our sources really emphasize that human energy isn't some abstract woo-woo concept. It's a physical, entirely measurable currency. Your mitochondria, which are those tiny microscopic power plants inside your cells, they create this ATP. So every single thing your body does, whether it's contracting a muscle to take a step or firing neurons just to form a thought, it costs a specific amount of this ATP currency. But here's the catch. ATP doesn't just magically materialize. It relies 100% on a helper molecule called NAD+, or a nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Just think of NAD+ as the vital delivery truck that transports electrons straight to your mitochondria. The math here is incredibly simple. Without that NAD+ delivery truck, the mitochondrial power plant shuts down, ATP production grinds to a halt, and your internal lights quite literally go out. And the research highlights a pretty stark reality here. By the time you hit age 50, your natural baseline reserves of NAD+ have likely plummeted by a staggering 50% compared to when you were in your 20s. 50%! This massive biological shortage is exactly what manifests on the outside as chronic fatigue, super long recovery times, and just a general loss of that youthful bounce. Your cells are literally starving for fuel. Which brings us to Section 3, the IV therapy difference, specifically focusing on NIAGEN. So Prime IV uses this patented compound called NIAGEN. It's a highly efficient form of nicotinamide riboside, or NR for short. The source notes they use NIAGEN because it acts as a really clean fuel. The metabolic pathway to convert NIAGEN into NAD+ is super short and takes very little energy from your body. And crucially, unlike basic niacin supplements, it completely avoids that horrible red, itchy skin flush that nobody wants. Plus, this boost in NAD+ reportedly triggers something truly fascinating. It activates sirtuins. Those are a family of proteins that basically act as your body's built-in anti-aging defense system, managing DNA repair and overall cellular health. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Why not just take a pill? Well, the magic word here is bioavailability. The source argues that oral supplements are facing a brutal uphill battle. When you swallow a pill, it has to survive the incredibly harsh, highly acidic environment of your stomach, plus the complex first-pass metabolism of your liver. Because of all that, you might only actually absorb 20 to 30% of the active ingredients. You're basically paying for really expensive urine. IV drip therapy entirely bypasses the digestive tract. It delivers the NIAGEN straight into your venous system for 100% absorption. The text actually uses a great analogy here. Taking oral supplements is like trying to put out a fire with a trickling garden hose, while IV therapy is like opening up a high-concentration fire hydrant. instantly waking up those dormant cellular repair mechanisms. Let's look at Section 4, brain and body benefits, or what we can call systemic optimization. According to Prime IV, brain fog is the silent epidemic of the 21st century. Think about this. Your brain accounts for maybe 2% of your total body weight, right? But it greedily hogs about 20% of your body's total energy. Because of that massive, constant energy demand, the brain is usually the very first place you are going to feel the effects of low NAD+ levels. Your focus wavers, your memory slips, you just feel completely uninspired. Restoring that NAD+ essentially acts as a cognitive lubricant, just clearing away all those mental cobwebs. And these microscopic changes translate to massive physical performance upgrades throughout the whole body. The clinic states that flooding your system with NIAGEN helps restore metabolic flexibility. That just means your body gets way better at efficiently switching between burning fats and carbohydrates for fuel. If you're an athlete, this accelerates muscle tissue repair by knocking down systemic inflammation after a brutal workout. And for high-performing professionals, it protects neurons from oxidative stress, which is absolutely crucial for maintaining your competitive, cognitive edge in a high-stress job. All right, finally, Section 5, the Prime IV experience and its actual clinical application. The sources outline the very specific protocol they use at their Wall Township, New Jersey facility, just to totally demystify the experience for you. It all starts with a rigorous health consultation and screening by licensed medical professionals. Gotta ensure safety first. Next is vein access. They use a pediatric-sized needle, so it literally feels like a quick 1-second pinch. Then you just sit back and relax for a 45 to 90-minute infusion. And this is in a spa-like setting with heated massage chairs. You can read a book, take a nap, get some work done. Afterward, absolutely zero downtime. You can head straight from the chair back to the gym or the office. The material does note that while some people feel an immediate clean energy boost, the effects typically really peak about 24 to 48 hours later, once your body has fully integrated that NAD+ into its cellular processes. Which leads us to our final thought today. The source material frames this entire protocol not as some optional luxury, but as a necessary, proactive shift in how we handle our health. We are moving away from just sitting around waiting to get sick and entering an era of true biooptimization, actually maintaining your cellular infrastructure long before it breaks down. So it begs a really fascinating question to leave you with. If the literal foundation of all human vitality truly is microscopic cellular energy, are you currently starving your engine, or are you ready to fuel your body like never before?